Thanks for stopping by. Just approaching the 100-hour mark on my LX2620, and I'd just like to give you my opinion on the performance of the tractor through the 4 seasons and what I've experienced using my implements. So if this is something that can help you out, stick around and we'll get to it. Throughout my previous videos, I've had a lot of comments. Some of those questions that have been asked multiple times. So at the end of the video, I'm going to answer some of those questions on the video. It may be of benefit to you, and if you think it is, stick around to the end and hopefully we'll get those questions answered and give you more information to make an informed decision. Beautiful day in Northern Ontario here. If you've subscribed to the channel, I want to thank you very much. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. It's nice to have you here. What I'm going to talk about today is my 4-season or 100-hour review of my Kubota LX2620. We live on a 10-acre property, and it's strictly do a little bit of homesteading, and we also have a 200-acre bush lot that we collect maple syrup from and lumber and do some trail clearing. The tractor has served me well in both of those properties and is certainly good enough or well enough to meet my needs. 23, depending where you look, 23.6 horsepower to 26 horsepower. Different websites, it's gross horsepower, rate it differently. Same engine right through the B series and now into the smaller LX series. So we'll call it 25 horsepower and at the engine, and 19.5 horsepower at the PTO. The LX series also has a 35 and 40 horse, which give you a little bit more horsepower and certainly some substantially more PTO power. The trade-off is it does have emission requirements, and you do have some emissions on the motor where the 2620 does not. That might be a deciding factor for you. Price point's a little higher on those other two models as well, but again, depending on your needs, you can make that decision. Let's start with the cab. I found the cab very comfortable. It does come, as I mentioned in my original review of the tractor when I first got it, it does come with a radio. It does come with climate control, being heat and air conditioning. I found the heat is almost to the point where once it's going, you almost have to strip down to your t-shirt because it does get very, very warm. And I actually get the cab up to heat and turn it off and just let the residual heat in the heater, and it's more than adequate. Love it. Certainly saves those cold winter plowing days on an open station tractor. The other feature is the radio. I found with the radio, you can hear it, but with the noise of the tractor kind of drowns out the radio. But it's still a nice feature to have in because it does give you a little bit of that background music. It is a Bluetooth. It pairs with your phone, and probably that's the most valued feature of the radio with the Bluetooth. All the controls are very comfortable. Everything is within reach. Adjustable seat. I find the seat very, very comfortable in my B2650. The seat was strictly spring-loaded, and I know going a couple bumps, you bottom out, and it's not very comfortable. This, I've yet to bottom this seat out, and it has a adjustment for weight, and it's an excellent, very, very comfortable seat. Like I say, everything is here for you. The only issue I have with the cab is if you have any footwear that's of any size, I always tend to get my foot kind of hooked underneath the treadle against this window here, and if you're not careful, your foot stays while you're getting out of the tractor, and you really got to think about it. Normal footwear, you're fine, but I guess with the cab on the tractor, it really is kind of really put the footprint size of the floor a little bit smaller, but it's something you certainly get used to. All in all, love the cab, love the features. Lots of ventilation. Have yet to have the windows fog up. I see some of the videos where the windows have fogged up. However, I haven't experienced that yet. I just have all the vents blowing on the side or front windows. I can't say enough about the cab. It is a nice feature. It is costly, so again, it depends on your budget, but if you have the budget to get a cab first time round, I would strongly recommend it. Another nice feature of the LX2620 is the breakaway mirror. If you're on a trail and you hit a tree, or if you're clearing your driveway and you hit a tree, rather than breaking the mirror, it will break away. a very handy feature. It's not overly tight, but tight enough that it'll stay in place, but it will break away should you hit something. In my case, the only annoying thing is I just can't get past walking into the mirror all the time and whacking my head and putting it out of adjustment as I get in and out of the tractor, but that's on me. Certainly not a fault of the tractor. The LX2620 comes with a performance matched LA535 loader, and you have the options of 3 bucket sizes. You have a 54-inch bucket, 60-inch bucket, and 66-inch bucket. That's the width. I opted for the 60-inch bucket, which is more than adequate for my needs. I've had it fully loaded with gravel, and it does hold quite a bit of gravel. I think it's almost to the capacity of the tractor. The lift capacity is between 1,000 and 1,100 pounds, and that's with the arms, loader arms, closest to the tractor from the pivot point where the arms attached to the bucket. The ground clearance of the Kubota LX2620 is approximately 14.6 inches, though the exact clearance will vary depending on the type of tires you have, whether they be R14s, R4s, agricultural or industrial tire configuration. Either way, it's a pretty substantial ground clearance, and it's nice when you're out in the bush on irregular trails or in collecting firewood. It's a nice feature to have. I opted for the R14 tractor tires. They're a hybrid between the R1 turf orientated tires and the industrial R4 tires. I absolutely love them. The reason I bought them is I was told before I purchased that they really improve your traction in the deep snow, and I found that to be exceptional, especially when you're pushing a big load with a front snowblower. It tracked very well, and my R4s on my other tractor would spin, and it would actually, the blower would drag the tractor off the driveway or off my track. These R14s just really hugged the surface, and great traction. I didn't spin them once, so it really kind of eliminates the need for a chain. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is the Kubota paint. It's not known for its durability or wear. So just as a bit of a heads up, when I had my B2650, I had it for 15 years. It was outside quite a bit in the sun, although I did store it inside, but just from regular use outside in the sun. I found the paint lost a lot of its color relatively quickly. Same as the loader arms, I believe they come from sometimes a separate manufacturer, so the paint may be a little bit different. So be prepared for some color loss in the paint. To prevent that, what I've done this time is before I used it, I gave it a good coat of UV protected wax, and I try to keep a coating of wax. Albeit I only have 100 hours on it. It's been stored inside, and it's still maintained its color fast. So hopefully I can attribute that to the wax. So something you might want to keep in mind if you want to keep the paint up to as bright a color for as long as you can. So I think the wax really helps it. The only problem I've had with the tractor since I've had it is with the third function valve. What happened when the dealer installed it, they reversed the intake to outlet hoses, and when I used my grapple or my front snowblower, it was very slow in reacting to the lift. That's because those hoses were reversed. Unfortunately, we live quite a ways away from any dealership, and I'm lucky enough that the dealer I deal with sends a technician up to the north, a couple times a year for service or for any kind of maintenance. Technicians stopped by after I got a hold of Kubota and let them know what was happening, and probably took him a couple hours to figure out what was wrong, but he did figure it out, and once those hoses were made right, everything worked perfectly. Nobody's fault. We all make mistakes, and no harm done, and I'm glad I was able to get that repair done. And I'll tell you, very handy having a technician come up to our house actually, and in the dead of winter, and fix the tractor. No warranty issues. Absolutely love the tractor. Like I say, my B2650, same engine, same drivetrain, pretty much the same tractor. No issues whatsoever, no warranty issues for the 15 years that I have it. The write-ups say Kubota is very reliable, dependable. and very low maintenance machine. So again, if it helps you make your decision, I know we all have our brand loyalty, but I'm certainly a sold Kubota customer, and I probably will be if I ever get another tractor. Another option is on the LX2620 is a block heater, and I'm not so sure it's even an option anymore if you live in the north. I think any of the equipment going to the north is equipped with a block heater, and it's just added into the cost of the tractor. If you do live in the north or a cold climate, an invaluable option, even though it may not seem necessary, it does keep that diesel engine warm. Easier startups and less wear and tear on the engine. So once you get down to that minus 10 Celsius range or even below 0 in Fahrenheit, I would strongly suggest that you use the block heater just to give you that easier start and reduce the wear and tear on your motor. And if it is an option for you, unless you live in an absolutely warm climate, I would certainly look at getting into a block heater. I think the larger size of the LX series from the B series gives it a little bit extra weight, and certainly with the cab on, I find the tractor has a lot more weight to it. That and all that said, I find when I'm box scraping or blowing snow that the tractor really kind of digs in, and it feels like it's really kind of powering into that gravel when spreading gravel on the driveway or box scraping the driveway or pushing snow, rather than kind of getting pushed around by the material. The tractor seems to, and I attribute it to the extra weight of the tractor, seems to handle a lot better under those conditions. But again, the LX series tractor is a little bit bigger than the B series tractor, and does have an increased weight to it. And then we add the cab to that, as opposed to the open station, you get that extra weight. As I mentioned in my initial review of the LX2620, I found the hydraulics relatively sensitive, especially when you're under load, gravel or dirt. Your RPMs are up. When you go to lower a bucket full of gravel or dirt, you have to be really aware because it comes down very, very quickly. So you either reduce your RPMs before you lower the bucket, and eliminates that problem. But sometimes it's something you don't think about. Your RPMs are up digging into a pile of gravel or dirt, and when you go to put it down to drive away, it comes down very, very quickly. Something to be aware of. I thought it might have softened over time, but it's still that way. I'm somewhat used to it now, but it's something that you really need to be aware of, and it is a noticeable difference. The three most common questions I've been asked in the comments of my past videos is to do with wheel spacers, ballasts, and if I think 25 horsepower and 19.5 PTO horsepower was enough. I'll go through the questions one at a time. They were asked numerous times, so they are the most common questions. As far as spacers go, I have 1.5-inch stainless steel spacers at one on each wheel, which gives me a wider stance of about 3 inches, and that just stabilizes the back of the tractor. It just gives me a little bit wider footprint. I had them installed at the dealer. There are videos out there that show how you can install them, but keeping in mind that the weight of those tractors and or tractor tires and being able to handle tires that size is quite an effort. So if you have an opportunity to have them put on at the dealer, I would recommend that. I wouldn't be without them now. I didn't have them on my B2650, and I do notice a big difference between having them on this tractor, the LX, and not having them on my B2650. Strongly recommended. Second part of that question is tire ballasts. I did get my tires loaded with an agricultural product called AgriLind. That was done at the dealer. It's a product that's designed specifically for adding to your tires. It's rust resistant, and it doesn't break down the rubber. RimGuard is another product. Again, this is something you probably want to have done at the dealer if you're ordering a new tractor. You can do it yourself. There are videos out there. Never exceed, I think they say about 75 to 80% of the tire volume. You want to have that 20 to 30% airspace in there as well. If you live in a cold climate, it goes without saying, do not use water. Warmer climate, a lot of people do use water for that purpose. Again, what that does is just add extra weight to the back of the tractor to offset any load that you may have in your bucket. You can use other means. You can actually buy ballast boxes, which is just a small metal box that you fill with gravel or stone just to have that weight. I keep a box scraper or box blade on the back of my tractor. They weigh about 450 to 500 pounds. I keep chains stored in that box blade, and it just gives me that added weight. So again, just to kind of offset the weight of the bucket. Third is the horsepower. As I mentioned earlier in the video, for my purposes, um, I've had that size tractor, both in open station and cab model for, I think I'm coming up to probably about 16, 17 years now. Um, Perfectly adequate for my needs. The PTO power horsepower, again, I run a wood chipper, and it'll handle up to a 6-inch log. Obviously, I don't use, I keep firewood, so I don't really chip much over a 4-inch log. I've chipped pine, softwoods, hardwoods, maple, oak, and without any problems feeding a 4-inch log max through the chipper. I have put up to a 6-inch log of soft material, pine or spruce through, and it's handled it perfectly well. 540 RPM is the maximum for that rear PTO. Now, if you're going to be doing bigger chipping, then obviously I think you're going to need a bit bigger tractor to give you that bigger PTO horsepower. But for my purposes, and I would suggest for any small farm or any small homesteading property, 25 horsepower, 19.5 at the PTO is adequate. Certainly enough for my needs. Snow blower, I run off my mid PTO, and that is it's a front mounted snow blower, and that's one of the advantages of the LX2620 is it's the biggest compact tractor with a mid PTO. So if you want to run a front mounted snow blower or a lawn mower deck, that's the biggest and biggest tractor you can get for that purpose. So those are the most common questions. If you do have any questions or comments, leave them in the below comment section. I'll be happy to answer them if I can. And the more information we have, and the more we can share, the better for everyone around. So those are the three most common questions. Lots of other questions, but I think these are the most relevant for this video. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you enjoyed today's video and were able to take something away with you. Tractors are a big investment and a long-term investment. The more information we have, the better choices we can make. So if you have any questions, comments, would like to say anything, leave it below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. In the meantime, enjoy the great outdoors, be safe out there, and we'll get you next time. Thanks again.